Imagine trying to maneuver, a rigid 137-inch wall of pure white up a narrow, winding staircase. Like one scratch, one slightly bent corner, and your $3,000 home theater is just completely ruined.
Oh, absolutely. It's a total nightmare scenario.
Right. Okay, so let's unpack this. Our mission for today's deep dive is decoding the Draper profile plus fixed frame screen from HDTVSupply and really figuring out why elite AV equipment demands such insane logistics. We are talking about a 16.10 widescreen beast here.
Yeah, because when you step into this tier of AV hardware, you aren't just buying a simple TV accessory to hang in your living room. You are investing in a highly engineered architectural element. I mean, it requires a fundamental shift in how you think about the physical space of your room.
Right, and looking at the spec sheet here, it mentions a matte white XT1000V projection surface with a 1.0 gain. Honestly, for a $3,000 screen, I mean, I would expect a higher number there. Isn't more gain better for a brighter image?
Well, not necessarily. So a 1.0 gain actually means the screen reflects light evenly in absolutely all directions without creating this glaring hotspot right in the center of the image.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is when you pair that even diffusion with the frame's extruded aluminum baffles. These baffles act like almost like microscopic metal tensioners. They pull the fabric perfectly taut right up to the absolute edge of the frame.
So that is how they get that mullion-less display they advertise. The image just goes right to the perimeter.
Exactly. Zero borders.
It's essentially an infinity pool for your viewing experience. You just get pure video stretching out without those thick, clunky black borders boxing the picture in.
And because it is mullionless, you can actually place multiple screens directly adjacent to one another. Like you can achieve zero physical separation between the images. It creates this optical illusion of the video just floating in the room.
Wait, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because to get that infinity pool onto your wall, the vendor actually ships this massive 137-inch frame completely unassembled.
Right.
You're telling me I pay over $3,000 and it shows up in pieces with a sliding hook and loop system that I have to build myself? I mean, that feels like a massive chore.
It totally sounds tedious, I know, but it's actually an absolute engineering necessity. A pre-assembled 137-inch aluminum frame would inevitably warp in transit.
Oh, sure. I guess that makes sense when it's that big.
Yeah, the sliding hook and loop system is the exact mechanism that guarantees the tension on that XT1000V surface is perfectly calibrated once it's finally on your wall. Plus, like we were saying earlier, it allows you to physically maneuver the pieces around tight corners and elevators before you assemble it.
Which means you also need to know exactly how you're mounting it before you even open the box. Because it ships with standard wall brackets, but if you want to suspend it from a ceiling, you have to specifically request flown brackets.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, the fragility and exactness required for those aluminum baffles mean there is absolutely zero margin for error in shipping or installation.
Right, none at all.
That uncompromising reality is perfectly reflected in HDTVSupply's purchasing terms, too. At a discounted today's price of $3,179, this is explicitly listed as a special order item. It is non-cancelable, non-returnable, and entirely non-refundable.
And that blunt reality extends right down to the vendor's attitude. Like, you look at HDTVSupply, which is a 25-year-old company with over 10,000 reviews. Right there in the customer feedback, one buyer noted that when they called, the staff was less than friendly but answered my question.
Wow, they actually published that on their own site.
Yes, and the vendor just left it up. It's kind of the soup Nazi effect of high-end AV.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's a purely transactional environment. When a vendor has survived decades selling uncompromising architectural elements, they just assume you or your installer have already run the math.
Right. Exactly. You aren't paying for a customer service rep to ask about your day. You are paying them to ensure the mathematical geometry of your flown brackets is absolutely flawless. The friction isn't bad service. It's a feature of exactness.
Yeah, it really is.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Ultimately, it means that building a premium viewing environment isn't a casual weekend project you can just wing. It requires intense architectural planning, a deep understanding of your room's physical limitations, and an absolute commitment to the hardware you're buying.
For sure. And looking at the trajectory of this technology leaves me with this thought.
Yeah.
If mullionless screens allow for zero separation between displays, are we approaching a future where we no longer hang screens on our walls at all?
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, instead we might start building spaces where the walls themselves are entirely made of modular, completely seamless displays.
Now there is an image to leave you with, an entire wall just melting away into an infinity pool of pure video. We will leave you to mull that over until next time.